Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic. Welcome back to another YouTube channel everybody. I'm so excited to have you back together again. And in today's video we're going to be reviewing a new series that I'm going to be doing called Journey to the Little Mermaid 2023. That's right, we are doing a series that's leading up to the Little Mermaid this upcoming week for the upcoming Disney live action remake. Before we get started reviewing the Little Mermaid 3 Ariel's Beginning, let me go ahead and review the first two Little Mermaid animated films. So the first original Little Mermaid film from Disney Animation Studios, I thought this film was great. Obviously, you know, it's the film that kicked off the Disney Renaissance, and honestly, it's a special film in that it really was the one that did something different with animation. Because you look at films like Snow White and all these other movies, and they really look like more like paintings paintings come to life. But with this film, it's like they took those cartoonish elements that Disney's always used, but also was able to mix in those seriousness elements of those serious images you would always see, and the way they balanced it was just very clever and very well done. And that's kind of like it established something for the rest of the other films. Not saying that it copied what Little Mermaid did, but that's kind of how the whole Renaissance was, and that's what made the Disney Renaissance, for me, so unique. That was so great about it. So, and then of course, you know, you also got to talk about the great characters, the great animation, the great songs and music. Ursula's great villain. Probably the only flaw I have with the film is Ariel's motive doesn't really change in the end. It's like once Ursula's defeated, she gets to stay with Eric. King Triton makes a sacrifice to miss her daughter. It's not really anything enticing about that. I'm hoping that they do something different with the ending of the new Little Mermaid film that's coming out next week, because I want the characters to be a little bit different. I'm hoping. Now let's review The Little Mermaid 2. Now this one I would say it's still good, but let's just kind of talk about the plot for a minute, because if you really think about it, when you think about the first movie, the whole movie is about Ariel wanting to be on the surface world and tired of being a mermaid. You think of this film, it's the same movie, it's the first movie except in reverse, where the daughter is born on land and she wants to be part of the sea. She wants to be a mermaid instead of a human. Parts of it, yes, but they kind of do some things that are pretty cool, and to protect her. But the thing is, I feel like with this sort of story, they did it in a way that was cool, whereas in the original movie, King Triton is just protecting her because he doesn't trust humans. He just doesn't. But in this film, the reason why he's protecting her is because we actually do see what happens as to why he's protecting her. So I guess it makes sense in that sort of sense. And it is nice. It is kind of nice to see Ariel and Prince Eric, or King Eric, they should really be calling him. I like to see Ariel and Eric as parents now. It honestly feels kind of weird, because once Ariel turns back into the Little Mermaid, she looks like an adult mermaid now. And then, of course, even then, they even brought back the person that played Ursula, like the original actress that played Ursula back in 1989. She's playing her sister. It's kind of weird. You're just hearing Ursula the entire time. I did like the Clancy Brown shark character. That was a nice little addition. The little penguin and walrus characters I thought were pretty cool. And then, of course, seeing a grown-up flounder having little guppies of his own, pretty cool little stuff there. And then, of course, all the little lines with Sebastian was pretty great. So, this film, I still think it does some good stuff, but it's not entirely better than the original. Not as good. So to talk about the Little Mermaid 3, Ariel's Beginning, this was one I was actually really kind of excited to see because I haven't seen this movie actually. And I've been wanting to watch it for a long time since I got Disney Plus. And, I mean, it has some good stuff in it, you know. Of course, it does tell a different type of story. It does explore that story as to what happened to Ariel's mom. Which, for me, it kind of sets up that story as to how her mom died, as that the whole reason was Captain Hook, because the reason why they were if you remember back in the movie Peter Pan, when the mermaids were running away, when Captain Hook showed up, same thing happened with Ariel's mom. She got killed by pirates. It's a cool little theory if you go look it up, and it kind of does make sense. I'm somewhat of a believer of the Disney and Pixar theory. Sort of. Like my sister keeps mentioning this theory of how Frozen and Tarzan are connected. It doesn't. The ship in Frozen was sinked, and the ship on Tarzan was literally on fire. I don't care if it was that far out. I know what I see. It did not look like it was on fire. Why would a boat be sinking on fire? And why would a boat be sinking on fire and then sink at the end? That's just terrible, horrible death. Anyway, we're getting on the wrong topic here, but what's the good on this one, you know? The way it kind of did all of the origins of these characters was pretty cool. When you get to see Flounder and Ariel meet for the first time, it was kind of fun. And the fact that the whole movie was about, like, you can't have music, you're not allowed to have fun, and that the King Triton kind of lost happiness. I get what you're saying with that. It's a pretty cool story that they did, that I thought they did. It's like, they're not allowed to have fun at all, they just have to do morning walks. It's actually kind of a cool idea when you think about it. It's like, the reason you lost your wife, and now that's lost, and you're abandoning happiness, you're abandoning music, and that's all done. And overall, there were some funny moments. I thought the new characters in here from that band that we saw in the Forbidden Band area, I was thinking like these are just little side animal characters that we're not going to see much of, but surprisingly, we actually do see them pretty much throughout the entire movie when they are introduced, and they're pretty fun. And I believe one of them is actually played by one of the actors that plays Donatello and Raphael in the two animated Ninja Turtles shows, one from the 80s and then the one from Nickelodeon in 2012. I'm not sure, but it sounds like a higher pitched voice of that guy. He's an amazing voice actor that I've heard him as as Raphael and Donatello in the two Ninja Turtle shows. Pretty great. And then I think I also heard a little bit of Jim Cummings in King Triton. Jim Cummings is in a lot of these other Disney animated sequels. It's pretty fun. I think that's where I'm going to end good on this one. Now let's move on to the bad. I feel like when it comes to this movie, I'm not gonna say it's like completely bad. Okay, when it comes to these direct-to-video sequels, I'm not gonna say I don't care for them. If anything, the best one I've seen so far is probably Lion King 2, mainly because it has a better story. You care for the characters. It just tells a better story, and it does what the first Lion King did, where it's a story from Hamlet. It's based on Hamlet. Lion King 2 is based off of Romeo and Juliet, which is a cool story. And when we get to Little Mermaid 3, I feel like certain parts just kind of felt awkward. like this is a mermaid character. At first, I kept seeing scenes of her in the movie, and I'm like, is this like Ursula before she became an octopus, or was Ursula always an octopus? Like I kept having those theories in my mind, like who is this girl? Where is this? Who is this mermaid? All of a mom all of a sudden, like is she like the replacement for King Triton's wife or something? Like what? Apparently it's just a guy that wants, she's just a mermaid that wants Sebastian's job, which even then that plotline just did not work at all. And her just hating on all of the mermaid sisters was just kind of weird. And even then, this is where I feel like the sisters in here kind of were annoying. It's like in this movie we get to see more of them, and the entire time I'm looking at them, they just look like Barbies. I'm sorry, like I mean obviously Ariel, like in this movie the way they're animated just makes them look like actual Barbies. Like if these Barbies were mermaids. And it just makes it look so weird. Now obviously, I don't think we get any merman in here, do we? I don't believe so. If they did, then I'm pretty sure they would have looked like Barbie, Ken, a bunch of Kens. But yeah, I guess that's one issue I have. And then I guess probably we don't really need a movie that answers the death of Ariel's mom. You look at all these other Disney movies and like Aladdin, we don't need the answer to where he came from and where his parents are. Mufasa and his father. That's a story I actually do want to see, which I'm excited to see that they're going to explore that in Mufasa the Lion King next year, which is which is probably my most anticipated Disney remake. We don't really need to know what happened to Belle's mom in Beauty and the Beast. We don't need to know where Snow White came from. We don't need to know any of that. We can just go into a movie and just watch it for what it is, and like the characters. Now, granted, it could be a little bit nice if you add a parent storyline in there, and it only if it makes sense. If you're just introducing that storyline, I guess the parent storyline in this movie did kind of work. It kind of worked, and it had a bit of resonance to it, so I'll forgive it for that. But overall, the movie was good. I'm not gonna say it was like terribly bad or anything, but it was good. I did like it. So that's my review for The Little Mermaid 3, Ariel's Beginning. Before I get my final score, be sure to down below. What are your thoughts on The Little Mermaid 3, Ariel's Beginning? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Where in between? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section below. With that said, let's get on my scores. Alright, so that's it for my scores. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the about section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.